Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside of Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devils football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. Coach, how are we doing this windy Monday morning?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm sure you're in a better mood this morning than you are on a lot of shows too, because as people already know by now, we get to celebrate your Region 1 4A champs again.
Yeah, you know, it's a really special time on Friday night to get that win, and especially to win the region championship against your region rival or your biggest rival on your schedule. Pretty special, but you know, we're excited now, but you know, that was last Friday. Today we got to get back to work.
Absolutely. The good news is it's playoff time now. Everybody's 1-0 and you're taking it 1 week at a time now, but let's take a little bit of time to celebrate that win over Elizabethton. Just take me through the whole entire night. I know the first half it was a little bit closer. There were a few huge defensive plays that allowed you to stretch that lead out a little bit and become more comfortable in the second half. So just take me through everything on Friday night from the first whistle to the last.
You know, we were able to, come out and, get a big stop on defense and get the ball back, for our first offensive possession. We were able to take it down and just run the football and get in the end zone, and really proud of that effort. Then we were, we went back and forth a couple times, and we turned it over, and they were able to. We had a drive where they were able to, get in the end zone because a couple penalties continued that drive, but had a third down stop where we made a great play, and the kid that was coming behind dove when the other kid made a tackle and he landed on top of him. Just a hustle play. They called a penalty there and had a pass interference was called on a fourth down play that we made a big stop. But overall, we're just proud of those guys' effort in that first half. Zayden Anderson come up with a big time
Absolutely.
Touchdown. We threw it over the middle, and it's kind of a 50-50 ball, and he had it, we had it, and he just took it away from him and sprinted, I think, for an 87-yard touchdown or something like that. I think an 80-something-yard touchdown. And then, that next drive, they were driving the football, and he made a big, interception and returned it for a long interception. We had another big stop by Isaac McGill, made a big interception, got in the end zone, ended up 27-7 at the half. Come out and had two really good offensive drives that we just drove the whole length of the field on them, and we were able to put it in, which was really big for our football team.
One thing I've talked about a lot this year is it seems like every game where you've been able to hold a team under 200 yards, you come out with a win and you play really well. I don't think a lot of people expected you to hold Elizabethton to under 200 yards, but you did the other night, 178 total yards for them. And once again, you surpassed 300 yards, which is kind of a key mark for you all, because once you all pass 300, it's like you get the win every single time whenever you pass 300 and hold them under 200. And we got to talk about Caden Baugh again, because we talk about how efficient he's been over the season. But he might have had his best completion percentage and maybe the biggest game that he's played in so far in his young high school career. 7 of 8, 121 passing yards, that passing touchdown to Zayden Anderson, and then 70 rushing yards to go with it. When he needed to step up in a big-time game like this, I think he answered the call just about as good as he could have.
Yeah, he played pretty good. Made some good decisions with running the ball and you getting in there and then being patient with some of those runs and get behind the blocks were really good. He threw a couple, threw an interception, and the other one was kind of close on the interceptions, but Zayden helped him out on that one, so that's always good. But a lot of short passing game stuff, just taking advantage of what they're giving us, and he was smart with the football, which is gives us the opportunity to be successful.
Carson Quillen, again, another trio of touchdowns on Friday night, 18 rushes, 146 rushing yards, and those 3 touchdowns. I know that we've kind of been petitioning for him to be a Mr. Football candidate now. I don't know why he shouldn't be, because like I said with Caden, in probably the game that he needed to step up the most, where the region championship was on the line, he had another fantastic game with a trio of touchdowns, and he had the one at the end, or the 2 at the end in the second half, that basically sealed it for you all too. Yeah,
had another tremendous game. If he's not one of the top 3 players in 4A football, I don't know who is.
I agree.
He's a big-time runner. I think he's up over 1,200 yards rushing, close to 25 rushing touchdowns now, I think. Hats off to him, but, our offensive line played really good. Helped get those holes open, but Carson just, he's hard to tackle. People don't want to continue to tackle him over and over. Just runs the football really low, hard, and He's got a good vision, so he was able to. Those 2 drives really sealed the deal for us on Friday night.
I think you could argue on Friday night that your defense won you the game and won you the region championship, because not only did you have those 2 pick sixes, but you had a lot of great defensive stands the other night. One defensive player that showed out, and it seems like it's been a trend and a theme of this episode is your big-time players showed up when you needed them to the most. And you look through the tackle chart here, and there's one glaring number that sticks out, and that's Drew Armbruster with 10 tackles and 2 assists. Not a lot of times do you see double-digit in the tackle column, but Drew came up in the biggest spot of the year so far when the region championship was on the line and played tremendous the other night.
Yeah, he's our defensive team leader without a doubt. He does a tremendous job getting us lined up. If we're doing anything up front with our D-line or seeing any type of pressures, he's the guy that gets everybody in line. So hats off to him. Smart football player, but dang, man, he flies the football. And once he gets there, I can't remember if it was a radio guy or TV interview guy was talking about when he gets there, everybody in the stadium is going to know, it's a lot of loud hits when he's making some contact. So really proud of his effort on Friday night. Really, played really good as a defense. Gave up a play here or there, but overall, we really played really good on defense. To hold that football team to 7 points, that's pretty good.
And I'd like to go through and just talk about that defense some more, too. You had Drew Armbruster with those 10 tackles and 2 assists. He had a pass breakup, 3 QB pressures by Jackson Nichols. He also had 5 tackles and 3 assists. You go down here, of course, you have a sack by C.J. Reyes. He had 3 tackles and 3 assists. You have the pick 6 from Isaac McGill, the pick 6 from Zayden Anderson, Maddox Bishop, 6 tackles. I mean, it wasn't just 1 or 2 players that showed out. You had about every big-time player on your defense step up on Friday night.
Yeah, if you're going to be successful in games like that, you got to play as one unit, and that's what they're doing right now. Everybody, you can't be selfish and do your own thing. You got to, take on a block or whatever it might be. You got to make sure you're doing whatever to help this football team, and that's what those guys are playing. They're playing unselfish right now, just playing as a group, and they're really having a lot of fun playing. We're playing a lot really physical, which makes a big difference. But yeah, really proud of that defensive line. Like you said, C.J. Reyes had a big game. Brandon Iezzi and big Quentin Humphrey and Zorian Harris all had big-time games in there. Noah Murray continues to get better and get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, flying around. He had a big-time TFL. So that D-line's playing really hard. The whole defense, but really proud of that D-line the other night.
And one more player I'd like to talk about, because we kind of talked about everything with him so far. We went through the game recap, but I feel like the game that he had, he needs his little own minute and a half segment. But Zayden Anderson, I mean, the pick 6, you have the interception that Caden threw that he just rips out of his hands and takes it for a touchdown. He ended up 3 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. And Zayden was really a key player also, because I said that you could argue that the defense won you the game, and he was a huge part of that. But you take away that touchdown in the first half, and it ends up being an interception like I think a lot of people thought it was on impact. You don't know how much that can change the game. And just we've talked about how much of a game changer he is, and he truly was the other night.
Yeah, for sure. He's a big-time player, and like you said, you want big players to make in big games and then make the plays when they have an opportunity. Wasn't the best thrown ball, but he did something about it, make sure it ended up in our hands and for a touchdown. And defensively continues to get better. A lot of people recruiting him as a offensive player, but he's a big-time corner as well. The last couple games he's had 2 pick 6s. People throwing his way, he's making them pay for it.
Absolutely. And the last thing we'll talk about also is it's something that I alluded to in the first interview we did. It's something that I talked about in the preview last week, and I talked about Saturday morning, but I finally get to sit down and talk about it with you, and that's those seniors. They finally get to say on senior night that they could walk off the field and say that we're region champions every single year that we've stepped on the field here in Burley Stadium. And they're 4-time region champs now. They don't know how it feels to not be region champs at this school. And I don't know personally how they feel. I know it's tough to kind of gauge how a teenager feels, but for you, how cool do you think that is for them to be able to walk off that field and say they don't know how it feels to not be region champs?
Yeah, that's special. On senior night, able to win the region championship, you're 4th while you've been in high school. Not many people can say that. There for about 10 years, we won it, 10 or 12 years, we won it, every year. But we continue. Since they've got here their freshman year, we got it back our way, and we've been able to keep it our way, which is a big for this program, this community. But it says a lot about those seniors, how hard they work. year in, year out, every group of seniors, has been able to continue this. And, it's a special group that means a lot to me. But, at the end of the day, we're only going to be as good as that group of seniors each year, year in, year out for the most part. And really proud of this group. I'm not for sure how many games they've won in their high school career, but it's got to be up there with as many as most of the seniors has ever been through here in a long time.
And they've left their mark here on this program, and they've got the opportunity to leave their mark even more going forward now as we get to talk about the playoffs. It's the most exciting time of the year going into the playoffs. You've got a round one matchup here at home here in Burley Stadium against Knox Carter on Friday night at 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and preview that in just a minute. But as always, we need to get a word in from our sponsors first. So we'll be right back in just a minute to discuss that playoff game here on Grassroots Media.
For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference. At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greeneville, Tennessee.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greeneville.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside of Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devils football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. So you've got the first round of the playoffs now. It's the most exciting time of the season. Everybody's 0-0 going forward now. You take it 1 week at a time. So going forward, you've got Carter this week. It's a team that I know you've already studied up on a little bit. I'm sure Saturday morning whenever you woke up, that's the first thing you did was check out Carter and check out a little bit of film. So what can you tell me about Carter here in your first round matchup?
First and foremost, Carter's a dang good football team. They've been in some football games that they should have won, and to be honest, they're probably the second best team in that region, and we end up getting them the first round. But they've got really explosive offensive players, big offensive line, a quarterback that can really throw the football. They were up 28-7 in a game against Fulton, who end up the 3 seed in that region. They were up against Gibbs. So they've been in every game and up in all those games that their region games that they got beat. But really explosive offense. It'll be a big challenge for us defensively.
Tell me what you can expect from their offense too. What kind of formations they're going to throw at you, and what kind of playmakers do they have?
They've got their best playmaker. They'll line him up at running back. They'll line him up at receiver. He's going to be somewhere on the field every play. They're going to spread you out a lot of 3x1, 2x2 sets. They'll play with the H-back just a few times. A lot of times they'll put those guys in there at the skill kids at that H-back position just to try to get a disadvantage on a linebacker or something like that. But they're going to throw it a lot. They've got like I said, the quarterback's threw for a lot of yards on the season. Throws the ball. Really good deep ball, so you know how that a lot of those deep balls are 50-50. Yep. So makes it really tough when a quarterback can throw a good deep ball. So it'll be a good challenge for our secondary, our linebackers. They like to run the ball as well. Got a big offensive line. So it's a really good challenge for us, especially it's not a typical round one game.
Absolutely, and I know your boys are going to be up for it. But the offense, we know the dynamic offense that you have. You've got Caden Ball, you've got Carson Quillen, Zayden Anderson, the many playmakers that you have out there on offense. What can you expect their defense to do to try to slow you down?
They're going to try to load that box in there and play a lot of man coverage, kind of same scheme that a lot of people's done. They play a lot of three-front stuff, so they're going to get as many skilled kids out there on the field that they can and load that box up, try to man us, make us try to beat them throwing the football.
And I know, as always, we go into each interview, we end it with the 3 keys to the game that you need to carry out in order to get a win. It's playoff time now. You got Carter week 1. What are your 3 keys to get past Carter on Friday night?
The first and foremost, we got to be better than them on special teams. They get an opportunity to kick off. It's some type of squib, onside, something every time. The ball's bouncing around crazy. We got to be able to make sure we're covering that thing up. They're going to fake punts or go for it on 4th down, one or the other. So you got to be ready for all that. 2, offensively, we've got to continue to run the football. Us be able to run the football opens everything up for our offense. Either with the quarterback running, we know Carson's going to be able to run the ball, but it really starts up with up front. We tell those guys every week, if we're going to win the football game, you got to win it for us, and they've done a tremendous job for us. And the 3rd key is we can't give up big plays. For them to have to drive it on us, I feel like we can get off the field, but we can't give up big plays where they've got 3 or 4 explosive guys that got really good speed, and you can't let them guys take it to the house on you on the 40, 50, 60-yard run, something like that, and you can't give up anything over your head. So those are, for us to be successful, we got to be able to meet those goals on Friday night.
All right, I believe that's the Carter preview right there. For you as a head coach, how excited are you that it's the playoffs now?
It's a special time of year when you get to this. It's win or go home. Everybody's got the same goal right now. Everybody wants to win a state championship. That's not something we'll talk about it in our team meeting today. That's your opportunity. But at the end of the day, we're going to start talking about Carter. We got to be 1-0 this week. If you want to get the next week, you got to win this one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't do your job or something, if you don't do it, you'll get beaten. You'll be at the house watching everybody else. So you got to be 1-0 at the end of this week.
Beautiful part about the playoffs, there's only 32 teams left, but there's 32 teams all eyeing that one goal at the end of the year. And every team's good up to this point. There's not going to be any teams that you'll go into and think, okay, we've got an easy week this week. It's the playoffs. Every team's going to come out and play their best football, and everybody's a good team up to this point. But, Coach, I think that's all I've got for you this week. Here in Burley Stadium, Friday night, 7 o'clock. It'll be $10 at the gate. You can get your tickets early on GoFan. As always, show up early because when it's playoff time, I think a few more eyes are on the Greene Devils here in Burley Stadium. So show up early to be able to get a seat, or you're going to be standing in the standing room only parts. But, Coach, that's all I've got for you. Appreciate you, man. Once again.
Yes, sir. Go Devils.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show. Look forward to seeing you all next time here on Grassroots Media.